Hello and welcome to this episode of Simply Saturday. On today's episode, I'm going to show you a fast and easy holiday treat. Now I'm going to flip the camera around so you can see my desktop, so hold on and we will get situated. All right, microphone in and camera flipped so you can see what I'm doing. All right, I'm going to show you two versions of this little holiday treat. We're going to jump right in and get started, and I'll tell you lots of things along the way. All right, so I am beginning with a piece of real red cardstock. Now I have used a die on this and gone ahead and die cut this piece out. The die that I used was from Color and Contour, which at one time was a bundle. Then the stamp set went away, but the dies were still available. And I don't think that these dies are available anymore. Another option would be the perennial postage dies. Those are still available, and those just have a different edge, but you're still going to get this nice die cut rectangle look. Now, maybe you don't have either of those dies. You can certainly just use a plain rectangle. So then you're going to want a rectangle that measures 4.5 inches by 3.25. All right, so 4.5 by 3.25, real red rectangle, and you will be just fine. All right, if you are using your plain rectangle or your die cut one, the next thing you're going to want to do is put it into your Stampin' Trimmer with your scoring blade, or use your Simply Scored scoring tool, and just make a score line right down the center. Now it's about at 2.25 if you're using this die cut piece. It's a teeny bit off, so I just look for the middle of that scallop that is as close to the 2.25 mark as I can make it. All right, so you're just going to put a score line in there and fold. That's the base. What I recommend is that you start out making at least 6 or 8 of these. You're probably going to want to make more like 16 or 20, which is what I did. So do all your rectangle cutting or die cutting, and then score them all and fold them all. So you want to get yourself going in like a little production line, and that will speed up the process. Absolutely, the slowest way to go about this is to make one start to finish and then start in on your second one. Honestly, do it like a production line. So at this point, you would have a whole stack of these ready to go. All right, now we're going to do our stamping on a piece of white cardstock, and this is cut at 2 5/8 inches by 1 7/8. And let me show you the stamps that we're going to use. I'm using the tree and the little snowflakes from Reindeer Fun. And then I am using, this is from a retired set from a year or two ago, Handmade Wishes. I'm using the stamp that says handmade and the large heart. You'll see where that comes in, and this step is totally optional. You could do something different. And then last, I wanted a small Christmas greeting, and a lot of the stamp sets that I have that are current have larger greetings. These are all too large, and so I went to an old retired set called Itty Bitty Christmas, and I made some with Happy Christmas and some with Very Merry. And I also think that Oh What Yum would be adorable. So if you don't have this stamp set, look through your collection and find a tiny, very small Christmas greeting. All right, let's do our stamping next. So on this one, I already have the stamp Happy Christmas mounted on my acrylic block. So we're going to use that, but I'll show you the one that says Very Merry also when we're finished. All right, so in real red ink, just a simple image right there. There's our words. Then I'm going to take I'm using 2 greens and Pool Party. And let me tell you where I got my colors from. Okay, for the treat that I'm showing you right now, we're using the Hershey Kisses, the sugar cookie variety. Now, I had no idea what this tasted like when I bought them. I liked the color of the wrappers, and that was my inspiration. Turns out when you unwrap one of these puppies, they are delicious. So there you have it. But you're gonna have to search for these. So let me tell you, my local grocery stores don't carry many of the fancy Hershey Kisses. Right now, they carry the bags that are the red, green, and silver foil, but none of these special ones. So I had to go to, I had to check both Target and Walmart. I found these at Walmart. They were $4.25, which was not too bad because you can also find them at Walgreens. They're $6.50 at Walgreens. Now, if I had planned ahead, last Friday on Black Friday at Walgreens, they were half price. So that would have been a deal, but I did miss that. So if you're looking for the sugar cookie or this blue foil wrapper, these are the snowmen. You can also find Grinch, and you can find ones that look like Santa hats. There are so many different Kisses varieties out there right now. All right, so back to the project. This is why I am using the colors that I'm using. The little foil wrapper clearly has red and then a bright green. So I'm using lemon lime twist. Then there's a dark green, which I thought was Shy Shamrock at first, but that didn't look good. So I went to shaded spruce. Of course, our red ink we've already used. And then to bring in that little bit of light blue, balmy blue would be a good option, but I think that Pool Party is even better. So those are our ink colors. All right. So we've got Happy Christmas on there. Next, I'm gonna stamp my lemon lime twist tree. And I'm bringing in a scratch paper because I'm gonna actually end up stamping off the bottom of this little white piece. I am trying to train myself to slide up a little more on my desk. You might have seen a couple recent videos where I'm stamping and it ends up being down here. Ah, that's so frustrating. So I'm working on that. All right, so I've got my lemon lime twist, and I'm gonna put the first tree right here, and you can see that I've had to drop it down on the white cardstock so that I ended up actually stamping a little bit on the scratch paper. That's totally fine. Depending on what words you stamped, you might not have to drop that as low. When I show you the Very Merry, this tree can be up higher because this I put in a different spot. Okay, then shaded spruce for a second tree. Okay, and I realize that I am talking and giving you a lot of extra information. So this project seems to be taking longer, but it really doesn't. It's fast. All right, so the second image now is my shaded spruce tree going right here next to it, and it's going to be the full stamp. Okay, now we're going to come in with Pool Party and those little snowflakes. The elements that I'm showing you today on this very simple treat are pretty standard. And what I mean by that is if you have a word stamp and you have an image stamp or two, and then you have something that acts as filler, you can really create a cute card, a bookmark, a treat. Those are kind of the three elements that you need: a sentiment, a main image, and then maybe something for filler. Now, as you get more and more experienced and advanced in your stamping, you can obviously mix up that recipe a little bit, but that's a great place to start. So I'm using my little snowflakes as filler, and I'm going to come in and do one more here, and then it's up to you. I feel like it needs one more little snowflake over there, and so I will just add one there. That's it. That's the end of our stamping. Now, this is going to go onto this red piece like this, the folded red piece. It's going to go on the front like that. This is going to then get attached to our treat, which I'll show you next. What I want to talk about is the back. You can completely leave the back blank, But what I am doing with these treats, I want people to really know that it was handmade for them. And I also want to put my name on here. So let's do that, and I'll talk a little bit more about who I give these to. All right, so I'm setting the stamped piece aside. Now, on this piece of cardstock now, I'm coming in with that handmade stamp, and I am going to stamp in red ink. So I'm stamping tone on tone, real red ink on real red cardstock. The reason for that is I want it to show up, but I want it to be subtle. So you're going to see how pretty this is. All right, I'll tell you, for the holidays, often many times throughout the year, but definitely at the holidays, I like to have some of these handmade treats of one sort or another with me, either in my purse, or I might put a bunch in a cute little holiday bag and carry it around with me. Then, no matter where I am, the grocery store, perhaps at a restaurant, meeting a friend for lunch, maybe, and this is for sure, when we go to any of the local wineries here in our area, I always have these treats with me and I hand them out to the servers. And so because it's kind of being given from a stranger to a stranger, I want them to have a little bit of personalization. So instead of leaving mine blank, I stamp handmade, I'm using the little heart, and then I just write my name on it. That way, when they show their friends or coworkers, then they're like, look how cute. One of the customers gave this to me. They're like, who? At least they know it was someone named Julie instead of, I don't know, someone who was here. So that part on the back is completely optional to add your hand stamped or your handmade stamped image on it and add your name. But that's why I do it on mine. Okay, here we go. I'm going to put a little bit of my liquid glue onto the back of that white stamped piece and attach it right here. The nice thing about this die is it really fits right in between this little dotted area. It really frames it. It's so cute. All right, so I'm going to set that down and flip it over and give it a good press. All right, the hard part is done. That's the stamping and the die cutting. Not really hard, but the part that's going to take the most time. All right, so we've got that done. Like I said, you're going to do the process for a bunch of them all at once so that then you have several that are ready to go. Here's another one. This one has the Very Merry on it. And you can see my tree is up a little higher because I had more space. And then, do I have another one here? Here's another Happy Christmas. All right, so here's my production line. I've got all these going. I've got my stamping. I'm gluing all of the white pieces on at this point. All right, the next thing you're gonna need are some cello bags. And right now, Stampin' Up! Does not sell this size, so you are welcome to look for them online. I will put a link to Amazon where you can get 2-inch cello bags. So below this video, you can look for my links and you can find it there. So these are 2-inch cello bags. They probably started out at 11 or 12 inches long, and I have cut them down to more like 6 inches. It was the 2-inch part that I needed, okay? And I've dropped 5 little Hershey Kisses, the sugar cookie style, down inside the cello bag, and I don't really care how they land. All right, you can see, you're just gonna drop them in. You don't want a lot of your time taken up making these lie a certain way. Just drop them into the opening, kind of shake them, let them fall where they may. All right, now we're gonna take our stamped piece. Here we go. Is this the one I just did? No, we were doing Happy Christmas. All right, you're gonna grab your tear and tape. And we're gonna use quite a bit of tear and tape. And I do recommend the tear and tape because of its holding power. All right, so if you are with me, we're gonna put 3 strips of this onto the inside of our little treat, this little folder. All right, so we're gonna go all the way across. I'm just avoiding the scalloped edges. I don't really know why, but I'm just staying within the rectangle here. And I'm going side to side making it a pretty long strip, like so. All right, next, and I'm gonna tell you by experience, don't skip any of the steps with the tear and tape. Once your tear and tape is on there, take your bone folder and really press it down. Tear and tape is an excellent tape. It's great for 3D projects like this, and it holds really well, but every now and then you will put something together and it will pop open. So we are going to really work our tape. Now we're going to release the backing. So I've got my take your pick tool, just so I can gently pry up the backing paper and remove those. Okay, you can take your filled cello bag now, and what I'm aiming to do is get it in the center of this red piece. It's not going to go up as high as this strip. It's going to come just underneath that strip. So all of that said, that's why your cello bag at this point needs to be about 6 inches tall, but you can eyeball it if you want to. And if you wanted to put more Hershey Kisses in, you could totally do that, and then you would leave your cello bag taller. All right, I'm going to lay this down right here in the center. Actually, as I'm looking at it, this one's still a little bit tall, so I'm going to trim it. Sometimes you don't know until you know. And it also depends on how your kisses fell and maybe nested together. Sometimes they're more compact. So that looks good. All right, I'm going to press this down. Now, this is where I have gone wrong in the past. I expected that full-on piece of tear and tape and these 6 little edges would be enough to hold this tightly closed. And I have been surprised and shocked that sometimes it still pops open. So we're going to add 2 more strips. This is what I've done this season, and it is working well and holding. So I'm going to add another strip across the cello bag and onto the red cardstock. You can see that. And a second one. So what I had to do on several of mine is, on the day I was headed out and popping these in my purse, a bunch of them had popped open and I had to go add tape. So I'm helping you avoid that step. Let's press that tape down really good with the bone folder and release those pieces. The backing strips. And now this can be shut, and we're going to flip it and press again. We want that tear and tape really doing its job and holding this thing shut. And there we have it. Now you can make one of these in just a couple of moments without all the extra talking and the teaching time that it takes me during the tutorial. Let me show you how cute these are once you've put them together. So I did a number of these in this style with those colors and the sugar cookie kisses. Then I also, oh, see, I've got more. Then I also did a blue version using stamps from a stamp set that was called Very Cute. And so I did the blue version with the snowmen Hershey Kisses, and the flavor of the snowmen are cookies and cream, and they are also very tasty. All right, so there you can have the blue theme as well. So there is our project for today. Super fast and easy. And again, you're going to want to take these with you, hand them out. If you're a demonstrator like I am, it's a good way to get your word out and let people know what you do and what you love. If you're not a demonstrator and you just enjoy crafting, what a nice way to say Merry Christmas to someone and show up with a small treat that you handmade for them. Until next time, happy stamping.